Hey guys, Atlas Shrug 383 here. Today we're going to do an oil change on a 2022 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk edition. This Jeep Cherokee has the 3.2 liter V6 engine, and yeah, changing oil in this thing is actually a piece of cake. We've got the extra ride height that comes with the Trailhawk, so we don't really have to jack this up or put it on ramps or anything. It's a pretty straightforward and easy procedure that I think anyone can do, and it's a relatively quick process as well. So let's dive in and give it a shot. Let's pop the hood here. Bloop. There's your hood lever. One thing that I always do in changing oil myself is put some kind of drop material down, a drop cloth, or in this case, cardboard boxes, just to make sure if we have a whoopsie that it doesn't go all over the place and make a huge mess. And you'll see on this box, there's a little oil on there. Those are whoopsies. So it saved me before, and it'll probably save me again. Of course, if you let the oil gush out, it's not gonna do much to help you, but a few little drips here and there, no problem. So, hey guys, so step number one is we're going to remove the plug under the Jeep. It's really easy to get to on the Trailhawk edition. I'm going to show you in just a second. We're going to get the drain process started. I have the Jeep parked on relatively level ground, and we're going to get that going, and then we're going to access the oil filter, which is inside the oil filter housing on top of the engine, and work with it that way. I don't crack my dipstick or do anything like that in the beginning stages. Some people do that, and I will also do that once the oil starts to flow. It'll help air pull as much of the oil out as possible. But when I'm removing the drain plug, I want as little of it to gush out on me as possible. So I don't crack open anything on top of the engine first. I do that after I get the oil started. So to remove the drain plug, we're going to need a 13 millimeter box end wrench. And this is my first time changing the oil on this Trailhawk, and it's been done previously at the dealership. I'm expecting it to be a little tight, so I'm using a big old bar to crack it loose. Hopefully it won't be that hard, but I'd rather be over prepared as not. So let's go under here. I'll show you where the drain plug is located. All right, guys, so we're on front of the Trailhawk here. We're just gonna slide down underneath. And on the Trailhawk, you've got this lovely metal skid plate here to protect your vitals if you do take this thing off-road. At the back of the skid plate is a notch right here. See that? Got the skid plate, and then you've got a cutout in the skid plate right here. And this is your drain plug for your oil. So it's pretty easy to get to, but I need both hands right now so that I can get started with that. What I'll do is crack it loose. I'll try to get the rest of it on camera. All right, guys, so fast forward. Guess what? I don't have the drain plug out. Like I was saying, this vehicle, I've never serviced it myself before, and when you take your vehicle into these places, it doesn't matter if it's the dealership or what, they just don't care. I mean, they super tighten everything. I don't know that they do that on purpose necessarily. Maybe they do, but I didn't have enough room to really get in there and wrench on that drain plug, so had to go get my ramps. I went ahead, and I've got jack stands under here too. I like to be extra safe. I really don't like crawling under stuff, especially just on ramps, but I have secured these jack stands to the frame. If you can see there, the subframe rather, on the Jeep, that's a structural point there. These are good. These will hold it even if something were to happen with my ramps. I've got my emergency brake set, and also the rear wheels are chocked. So I just want to show this to you guys. You know, if you're an amateur like I am, safety is a big deal. I am just a novice tinkerer and I do things like oil changes because they're relatively easy. But anytime you do stuff like this, you do it at your own risk. So I just want to show you everything that I do. This costs me a little bit of time because this Trailhawk is tall enough, we should be able to get right under there and do what we need to do. But that plug is on tight. It's a two-handed job. And when we're finished with it, I will put it on properly at about 18 pounds spec. And in the future, all of this will not be necessary as long as we do it ourselves. Hey guys, I'm just going to show you, even though that drain plug was on super tight, now that I have some clearance to work with, I got this big ass breaker bar and it's a piece of cake. I mean, that's a huge amount of leverage. It just opened right up. So I've already cracked it loose. Now I'm going to try to finish everything on camera just so you can see what's going on here. I have our pan underneath. Be sure you open the vent on it, and that'll keep the oil from having air pockets down in there. It won't gush out on you. And now we're just going to finish this with a regular closed-in wrench. And again, I think I said earlier what this is, but this is a 13 millimeter. Yeah, 13 millimeter. So I'm just gonna pop it on here. This one's nice. It has an adjustable end on it. So, oh yeah, man, that's super loose. I actually don't think I even need that. Just, yeah, we can do this by hand. So once you've got it cracked loose, I've got everything ready to go here. I'm gonna just do it by hand, and hopefully we won't spill anything. Going good. Look at this, guys. See, that's why I used the cardboard. I made a mess. I dropped my drain plug down in the pan, and then I fished it out really quick because it can stop up your hole. So in the process of goofing around, that's why I put the cardboard down. So while we're draining, I'm going to take our drain plug here and just wipe it down with a shop towel, basically. Clean it off good. There's a little rubber seal in there, and I don't plan to replace it. I don't have a replacement for it, but we're just going to clean it. While we're draining, now is a good time to go ahead and open up the dipstick. Just pop that loose, let air begin to circulate through the engine and assist in the draining that's going on underneath. The oil filter housing is under this this right here on your engine cover. It's just a plastic piece. There it is. That plastic housing is what contains your oil filter. So let's put this aside. All right, guys, I ran into another little snag here. I might have to just remove this engine cover, which it's not difficult to remove. You have to have an extension to get down here, and I don't have an extension for my 1/2-inch drive wrench. It takes a big old 24 millimeter to get down in here and pop this off, and I can just barely reach it, even with this extension on. Well, I might be able to do that, but this entire cover comes off, so I think I'll just take it off so I have more room. So I just took the whole cover off, which is really a piece of cake. I'm not sure why they even put the little door hole on there, because there are 4 tabs and you can just pop it loose with your hands. But this is going to give me room now to get down here where I need to be and loosen this. I'm going to go ahead and loosen it off camera so I can use both hands, and then I'll finish the job on it. There we go. With both hands on the wrench, just pops it right loose. So now we can So here's the old oil filter. I try not to make a big mess. I'm gonna wipe the dribbles off down in there. All right, guys. So we have the top of the oil filter housing here and the old oil filter. The oil filter is just gonna pop out of this housing like that. You just gotta give it a little jerk and out it comes. So I'm gonna take my cloth real quick here. I've got a clean cloth, well, relatively clean cloth. Just gonna wipe this out a little bit on the inside. And there we go. It's good enough. And what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna remove this little rubber seal right here. There's a rubber seal, and this needs to be replaced each time that you do an oil change on this vehicle. So I'm gonna use a pick, and I'm gonna get it under there. See there? I'm gonna pull it off. Woo! Off it comes. Now when we put the new one on, I'll show you, but it needs to go right here. See that? In this channel right here. Has to go in there. If you don't put it in the right place, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have leaks. So, all right. This is my new oil filter, Mahle Original. I bought my oil change, my oil and everything came from Balu Parts. Ordered it online. I'll show you the oil when we refill it, but it comes with a correct size filter as well. So we're gonna crack into it. Here's our fresh filter. And also importantly, here is our fresh seal. So just like the old one, this is gonna pop right into your housing. Boom. It's as simple as that. When you hear that click, you know that it's in there. So this is good. And then we're gonna use this seal. So here's an unopened bottle of my oil. You'll see it's Eurol 5W20. You've got to use 5W20 synthetic. So what I'm going to do is season this new seal with a little bit of fresh oil. Ooh, that's a little too much. So we're just going to get this around here really good on this new seal right here. This is real important to help prevent any leaks. Smart people will put this on before the oil filter. So, all right, so we have the seal on. I'm just going to roll it down to the proper place. Also, we don't want this to be twisted. And there we go. We don't want this to be twisted. So I'm checking it. When I was rolling it on, you know, I might have twisted it some, and I don't really want that. So I'm taking my pick and doing this just to make sure I don't have any twists in it. I really didn't mean to do that. I think we're in good shape now. Okay, we're back up to the top of the engine now. We've got our fresh oil filter in the oil filter housing cover. We've got a fresh seal on here, which hopefully we've done everything right so we don't have leaks. And now we're just going to plug it back in. See how I'm hand tightening it? And then I'm going to get my wrench back out. And for our next step, we're going to put the drain plug back in. so that we can add our fresh oil. It's important, you know. Seems like a little thing that I would never forget that. This gets forgotten about pretty often, and if you don't put this thing back in there, you're going to have a big mess all over the place. So let's be sure to get this back in there now. Maybe we'll wait a minute. It's still draining, guys. Look at that. Hey guys, while I was letting my oil finish draining, it was dripping out a little bit. So what I often do while the oil is finishing up, after I've done what I need to do with oil filters and things, and still letting it drain, I usually check my air filter. Just a good idea. I didn't expect that the air filter would be bad in this Jeep because it's relatively new with low mileage. I just decided to check it just to see what was going on. But I wanted to tell you, I didn't put it on camera because it frustrated me so bad. This is a Trailhawk edition Jeep Cherokee, right? I mean, I know that it is off-road capable. I'll give it that. It's not a hollow title. But most vehicles, you want to be able to check the air filter relatively easily, especially if you're going off-road on dusty trails and so forth. It's possible your filter could clog up rapidly in certain conditions. So it's usually not a problem. You can usually pop your air box open. Right here, this is the air box. That's where the air filter is located. It's easy to find. Usually there are clamps that hold it on that you can pop open with your finger. You can pop the clamps, open it up, look at the air filter, and everything's fine. Not so on this vehicle. This vehicle, you must have an 8mm box-end wrench with a big extension on it, because there are like 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws right here. One, there's another one back here, and there are 3 down in here that are not easy to get to. So if you ever buy one of these vehicles, that's just incredible why they made it that way. That's blows my mind a little bit. But if you buy one of these and you actually do take it to the trail, right, out in the desert, you know, for a big excursion, and your air filter could get clogged, you better take one of these so that you can open the bleep bleep air box and check the air filter, possibly change it. Just thought I'd throw that out there. All right, we're going to put the drain plug back in now. Okay, we're going to put the drain plug back in now. It is still dripping a little bit. See there? But I'm not worried about it. It's just a very small amount of residual oil. This has been draining for over 30 minutes, and it's not going to hurt to go ahead and plug it. It probably helps that we do have the front of the Jeep elevated on these ramps and everything, because it would drain every last drop, I believe, from the oil pan. If it were on regular ground like originally I had intended, probably it would not be dripping. At least not this fast. That's still a relatively steady drip. Well, let's go ahead and pop this back in. About 18 pounds. I know that's good and snug. It should be about 18 pounds, and I don't think it's going to leak. Okay, and the final step is we're going to put the fresh oil in. Don't forget that. That would be probably one of the more expensive mistakes that you've ever made. So right here's the cap, the fill cap. I'm going to get a funnel. So I put a long extension funnel down in here just to help prevent from making a big mess. It's really hard to pour into that, and it's going to be a little challenging even with this tiny sized funnel. But we're going to put 6 quarts in, the equivalent of 6 quarts. However, because I bought this European stuff, Eurol, we're going in liters instead of quarts. but I know that this entire container is going to go in, and then basically down here is quarts. So not a full quart from the smaller container. Well, would you look at that? So the little end pops up, and it's going to make it a little easier to pour it. So. All right, so we're going to put our last quart in. This is not actually a quart size container. As I was explaining earlier, this is a European brand, so everything is metric, which is fine. This is actually about 1.6 quarts. So it's 1 liter. I'm going to put most of this in, and then I'm going to let it settle, and then I'm going to check it on the dipstick and try to get it as close as I can to the correct 6 quarts. Let's let that settle a bit. Come back and check it in a few minutes. All right, guys, it's been a little bit. It's time to check the dipstick. And what we're going to do is check it. It should be almost right on the money. If I need to add a little, it wouldn't surprise me, just a tiny little bit. But basically, I've got the equivalent now of 6 quarts in the motor. It's still on the ramps and everything. I did take the jacks out. I'm getting ready to crank it up and drive it off the ramps. But let's check our oil real quick. I want to show you. There we go. That is right on the money. You'll see the oil level should fall between these 2 bumps. See, this is the top bump for the maximum fill. That's the low bump for, you don't want to get below that. But right in between is the sweet spot. And that's where we're at, so. Just want to give it one more look over for leaks. Mainly around here, a little dark in there, but I don't see any leaks. I'm going to grab a flashlight in just a moment. No leaks coming from the drain plug. Looking good under there. There's a little bit of oil down in there, but I believe that's where I made a mess earlier. I don't think it's continuing to come out. Guess I'll go ahead and put this thing back on. I debated on whether or not I needed to bother with this. I think it's kind of silly to have these engine covers, but it does have insulation on the bottom. So that's a good thing. That'll help the engine warm up and get to operating temperature more easily. So I think I'll just pop this back on now. And to put this back on, it's the same as when we take it off. Hear that? Now it's reattached, so. Okay, so the engine is off and we have the ignition on run. So now we can reset this oil life indicator, I believe. There we go. Now the ignition is on run and I think we can reset this oil life indicator. There we go. All right, so that's everything with a basic oil change on a 2022 Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk. Overall, I've enjoyed owning this Jeep. I've only had it about 7 months, so it's my first oil change with it. Things are going pretty good overall with it, I suppose. I thought that was interesting with the air cleaner, that you have to remove 5 screws just to change the air filter, when normally you would have clamps that you can just pop with your fingers without any tools. It's much more helpful when you're out on the trail and you need to do something, and who wants to carry a stupid extended 8mm box wrench with them just to change the air filter. But there she is. She's a good looking ride. I've checked for leaks, I've warmed up the engine, everything looks great. The proper amount of oil is in there. So final step is just to take my used oil, usually to AutoZone or Advance, one of those places that's nearby, and they will recycle my oil for me. So thanks guys.